Greetings, literature lovers. Let's continue with the Cuban literature, the Caribbean literature, and the country which we are talking today about is the writers from Cuba, a very famous country, starting with Nancy Moreyan, who belonged to Havana, 1944 born, is a Cuban author and poet. She has gained recognition for work whose themes are centered on women and the Afro Cuban experience. The themes of her work span a wide scope. She discusses the mythology of Cuban nation and the relation of blacks of Cuba within that nation. In this, she often expresses an integrationist unifying stance in which Spanish and African cultures fuse to make a new Cuban identity. Much of her work and the fact that she has been successful within the Cuban regime locates her as a supporter of Cuban nationalism and the Cuban Revolution. In addition, she also voices the situation of women in her within her society, expressing the feminism as well as the racial integration of the Cuban Revolution by making black women central protagonists in her poems, most notably in the widely anthologized Mio Negra, that means black woman. Finally, her work also treats the history of slavery and mistreatment in the relationship of Cuba and United States, with a view towards arousing outrage toward abuse. However, although her work pays attention to political themes, is not exclusively dominated by them. Critics have noted her playful observations about her own people, her effective use of particularly Cuban forms of humor, and her regular indulgence in highly lyrical, intimate, and spiritual poetry. Now, the next poet is Nicholas Gillan, who was a Cuban poet, journalist, political activist, and writer. He is best remembered as the national poet of Cuba. Gillan is probably the best known, representative of the black poetry that tried to create a synthesis between black and white cultural elements, a poetic message. Now, later became acknowledged by many critics as the most influential of those Latin American poets who dealt with African themes and recreated African song and dance rhythms in literary form. The Gullen made an international mark for himself with the publication of Motivas de Sun. The work was inspired by the living conditions of Afro Cubans. The publication consisted of 8 short poems that were composed using the everyday language of Afro Cubans. The collection stood out in the literary world because it emphasized and established the importance of Afro Cuban culture as a valid genre in Cuban literature. That's all for today. Thanks for being part of it. Thank you.